As per usual, there'll be a timestamp in the pinned comment down below to the gaming portion. Just wanted to give a quick update on my stepdad. Yesterday was actually a pretty good day. He is finally starting to eat foods and stuff like that. They gave him some chicken, which he didn't really like. They gave him some pasta, which he did like. He called me. He's still a little bit out of it. He's still a little bit woozy, but things are definitely looking better. Blood pressure and heart rate are a bit more under control. They found a good mixture of medicine for him. He's going to have to stay in the ICU for a couple more days, but really rest and recovery right now is the name of the game. He's doing some physical therapy. He's able to move his hand a little bit. So just keep those good thoughts and prayers coming in. He's a strong dude. I'm sure that he will, be fine from this, but it's something kind of scary. That's pretty much what it boils down to. It is a scary, scary situation to have to deal with. But another situation that we have to deal with is that was a good segue, wasn't it? The Nintendo Switch firmware update. The big update has finally happened that brings in new features, new things you can do and stuff like that. Mostly good, but there is a tinge of some negativity surrounding it. Now, this is something that's going to be applicable. This is being done for the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. So this is kind of in preparation for the launch of the system. But people are finding out that a feature that you used to be able to do in previous versions of the Nintendo Switch, so obviously since 2017, has now been removed, and people are thinking that Nintendo lied about this situation. Did Nintendo actually give misinformation? So when it comes to firmware update 20.0.0, obviously the big thing is the virtual game card and game share situation. Now, to me personally, all of this was completely lost on me when they were like talking about it and showing videos and stuff like that, because I'm not someone who shares. Like, what's mine is mine, what's yours is mine. Like, that's kind of my mentality in life. So I'm not sharing my games with anyone. Like, that's just me. Trust issues, call it whatever you will, but I'm not sharing my stuff with people. But there was some anticipation of this, because I remember Brett on the Analog Allies podcast, which will be returning on Thursday, so make sure you guys tune into that. I remember Brett expressing some concerns over what it would change kind of in the back end, because Brett has two children. They have like Switches and Switch Lights and stuff like that, and they like to be able to share games, because obviously you don't want to buy like 3 copies of one game so that, one of your kids can play it from time to time. Obviously, we're in this digital age as well, and, game sharing is something that is positive. The virtual game cards, of course, have you so that you can like lend out your games. You can virtually load and eject game cards between 2 different Nintendo Switch 2 systems. And then the game share, it allows you to easily share compatible software with people instead of having to go kind of through different loopholes and stuff like that in order to do it. Now, Nintendo did say that the original way to share games that was available now would still be implemented with game sharing. It would just be adding in something additional for, ease of use and for people getting in on the Nintendo Switch 2 level. They also did change up the colors of the like eShop in the news and stuff like that. It used to be orange and now it's red. Now you might remember they did do like red when they did the Mario celebration for Mario's 35th. They changed all the colors to red, but then they went back to orange. Like, I'm cool with the red. I think that looks good. And of course, now you can system transfer to your Nintendo Switch 2 with this system. And they made it so that you can actually put your system data on the cloud should you choose to sell your Nintendo Switch 1. And then you can download it onto your Nintendo Switch 2. So most of this is very good. Most of this is, to you and I, it sounds pretty positive, but it seems like there's an underlying issue with this that is now being kind of brought to a head. Now, granted, it is a somewhat specific issue, but I do feel like the success of the Nintendo Switch definitely led to this being something that was being done a lot because of the fact that, people have kids and stuff like that. Kids like Nintendo, kids like Mario. It's just a facet of life. So here's where things get kind of weird and people are feeling like Nintendo has lied about things. And we're going to be we're going to be going with my old homie, Nintendo Prime here, because I've seen it over on Reset Era. I've seen other people talking about it, but this is actually something that's very specific to somebody like him because of the fact that he has children and there are multiple Switch systems in the household. So this is something that's going to be impacting him directly. So he says, what sucks about the update, 20.0.0 should be a mostly positive thing overall, but Nintendo lied. And if Nintendo Prime is saying Nintendo gave misinformation, there's got to be something crazy going on with this. Please, Nintendo of America, add back the original feature of two people sharing one copy of a game playing online together. You said the old system would still work. It doesn't. Not for online. You have enough wacky PR going on. Don't lie to your fans. Please patch this in back in. Thanks. Now, I do have it on good authority that Doug Bowser and Miyamoto have seen this tweet. Furukawa has seen it as well, and they are definitely considering putting this back in. But when I saw this, I honestly didn't quite know what to make of it because, like I said, I'm not someone who does the game sharing and the online stuff. So people in the comments kind of start talking, and they're like, you shouldn't be able to do that, and Prime is actually pretty well versed on this. I'll giving him credit for this. So you're welcome, Nintendo Prime. Xbox has allowed this the entire time. People say that then he says, the online ability is gone. This wasn't a feature to begin with, but it was marketed by Nintendo in their own FAQ and available since 2019. He actually shows like the Wayback Machine where Nintendo, before they changed it, that's where things get interesting. Before they changed it, this was something that they actually talked about and showed you how to essentially do on the Nintendo of America side of things. So, here's like a good breakdown of it. We've literally been doing this with Animal Crossing since launch. You have a primary and a secondary Switch. What you would do is make your personal Switch the secondary one, and then make your friend or partner Switch, whoever, the primary. Then on the secondary, you load up the game with your account. It would check online, then let you play. On the other Switch, you can have another account on it, load up that same game at the same time. You would not be loading it with the same account. This is because on the primary, any other accounts can also play their game. You can also use one copy of a game to play games together online. Nintendo had a literal guide on how to do this in their FAQ. So this appears to be something that has been removed. Now, from what people are saying in the comments of this, and I'm definitely helping out. But Jesus Christ, I can't show that word on here. I'm going to have to blur that out or something like that. But this is something that is available on PlayStation and Xbox. And for this to be removed in the current firmware update, which is obviously for the Nintendo Switch 2 and upgrading to the Nintendo Switch 2, it is a bit of a cause for concern. Now, like I said, my mileage is going to be very different than other people's mileage when it comes to, this impacting them, because like I said, what's mine is mine. What's yours is mine. I'm not sharing. I'm not doing game sharing. I don't have multiple people in my house. It is just me in my house, and I like the peace and quiet. But if you have kids and you have two Switch systems in the house and they want to play online together, a game like Splatoon, that's obviously something that's going to be heavily impacted by something like this. So what does this mean kind of going forward? That misinformation that everyone likes to talk about. If Nintendo themselves is giving you misinformation, can you really feel like people are being malicious with, somewhat being confused about things? Or is it just Nintendo is doing so much all at once that they're tripping up on themselves from time to time, and that's what's causing a lot of this confusion? In my honest opinion, and this is me being serious, the best way to avoid this is like, don't have kids, bro, because then you don't have to worry about game sharing and buying multiple systems and stuff like that. People say, oh, having kids is such a joy. It's a joy to me looking at my bank account and seeing all that money and being like, wow, I could buy something stupid today and nobody's going to get mad at me. Little Timmy doesn't need new soccer cleats or have to go to the doctor or anything like that. Don't give in to societal norms of that you gotta have children and stuff like that. It's all BS. You really want to have kids in this crazy world that we live in? You want kids growing up in this world? I mean, that's on you, bro. Me? I'm chilling. Worst case, I gotta be a stepdad. Hey, you know what? My stepdad was very good to me. I will be the cool stepdad. Be like, here's $20. Go to the movies. I'm gonna poke your mom. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. Anyways, guys, all jokes aside, this is a very interesting situation. It's not something that personally impacts me, but I feel like it is worth having a conversation about because, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about this on Analog Allies on Thursday on the second channel. So make sure you guys tune into that since this is something that could be potentially impacting Brett. But let me know in the comments section down below, like, is this something that's going to impact you? You know, are you surprised by this change? Because it does seem like this was something that Nintendo did tell you how to do, and then just to quietly remove it without any kind of warning, a little suspect. Little suspect. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Thank you for all the kind well wishes for the stepdad. I think he'll be all right. You know, I think that was kind of the hairiest part. He's gonna be miserable doing all this rehab and crap like that. But I would rather him be in a rehab center, you know, getting, you know, physical therapy and stuff like that than being in a hospital in the ICU because, you know, those beds suck, dude. And as always, guys, subscribe if you're, I lost my train of thought. Subscribe if you're new, hit the like button, share the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.